Welcome to Women's Day panel discussion at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum and our tech partner, Prime for Tech Solution. Theme is Ambition with Soul, designing careers that don't cost you your passion. From law to technology, from sales to fragrance science, our speakers have redefined success by refusing to choose between professional mastery and personal purpose. This conversation is about flourishing at work, in life, and in everything that fuels your sense of self. So let's introduce our panelists. We have got four panelists. First one, Harini Sudersan, a tech law trailblazer and privacy powerhouse with an extraordinary career that has spanned top tier law firms. She has been at INTERPOL and product startups. Harini now wears multiple hats, partner at Poovayya Company, co-founder of the mindful productivity app ZEN-it, which she has developed with her sister. So she would be needing support to take it to colleges and others because it's a very beautiful app. So that's why you are coming together to help each other wherever the help is needed, and a dual qualified attorney in India and California. We have with us another powerful speaker, Nimisha Sara Philip. She wears multiple hats as an impact investment lawyer, entrepreneur, and founder, working across the UAE India corridor with capital meets consequence. Her impact investment work focuses on cross border, gender lens investing, structuring deals that fund futures without erasing ethics. Beyond the boardroom, she is now running two unlikely worlds, two startups. The Alibi table, a fine dining, HNI networking, traveling super club where power loosens its tie over candlelight. And the House of Audacious Foundation, a luxury candle and gifting brand that funds the rescue and rehabilitation of girls from juvenile prisons, turning indulgence into interventions. So, wow. So, good work, Nimisha. We would like to, wherever you need our help, please let us know. Palak Dixit, the dynamic regional sales head at EMA at reputed US-based cybersecurity company and founder of Karigari Awad. With a fearless spirit for building from scratch, Palak has navigated continents, industries, and challenges with unmatched grit and grace. From leading cybersecurity alliances to reviving cultural heritage through her entrepreneur venture, she exemplifies what it means to be a modern day trailblazer. And uh, we have with us the last panelist, but she's also a powerhouse, the fragrance expert, Candice Medey, whose career journey has been nothing short of olfactory alchemy. From shaping scent strategies for global skincare and hair care brands to pioneering AI-powered fragrance design and consumer insights, Candice blends creativity, intuition, and science with effortless grace. She's a certified beer server and wine taster. So let's steer the conversation. And for your information, we did a special episode on how to select your perfumes. So please do watch each other's episodes and spread this conversation today and others. For Palak, we had also done this a spotlight with you and Rohan Bihani.
Okay.
So at Coffee, we have gone beyond the conversations. Main Coffee, this next conversations on LinkedIn, you must be seeing a lot of actions are happening. Speakers are getting highlighted with collaboration posts, a lot of things. So definitely, Nimisha would like to connect with you and understand more about how this helping this journaling, your social initiative. And please help Harini to connect with colleges. So this mindfulness, you also get highlighted, Harini. You remember?
Yes, thank you.
Chalo. So let's begin. The first question. Each of you has built a high impact career while nurturing a parallel passion. At what point did you realize that success didn't have to be one dimensional? Over to you, all the panelists. Who's starting first?
Okay, let me go first. So thank you so much, Ami, first of all, for the introduction. So for me, it actually started when I did the first pilot launch of Karigari Award back in 2023, and kind of the definition of success started changing for me. It was no more just climbing one ladder, and I was all about the perfection at that point of time, but that definition changed eventually. I realized that success didn't have to be just a ladder, it could be a portfolio as well, and it could be in, exploring new territories, learning, unlearning, growing into more than one direction. So yeah, that's what about how it was for me back in 2023, and it's actually a very rewarding, as I can see, for me right now.
So who's going next?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually realized this because I always wanted to see a synergy between what I like to do and what I'm good at. So, although I studied into media and advertising and I worked for a few years, I started noticing that, I have a sense for fragrances and smelling till I actually gave an interview at a fragrance house and I was told to give a smelling test. And therefore, I had a lot of eye for detailing and curiosity. Although I utilized all my expertise that was from the communication background, but I always had this hunger for understanding what's going on in the market. I loved observing people socially, I loved writing, and I wanted to blend what skills and what my interests are into how I can weave into at the workplace. And then the sensory space around me really expanded during the lockdown when I said I want to really expand my scope to flavors. So I started doing a couple of courses into the alcobev, which is different fields where I started tasting, I started learning and giving exams and understanding the process. That drove a lot of innovation and a lot of collaboration where I could use those as examples, when I have to do storytelling, when I had to present things at my workplace. And also because it was a similar synergy of, how you describe a fragrance or a flavor, and how do you take that understanding of trends and consumers, and with that kind of perspective, utilizing them for projects and as inspirations. It really clicked because it was not about labels or anything as such, but whether I was doing decoding a fragrance pyramid or a wine's aroma profile, I'm using the same olfactory intelligence. So I then realized it doesn't have to be vertical. I could be layered and utilize different inspiration and skills and how to harmonize, whether I need to do something pursuing as a passion or whether I need to do something at workplace.
Wow. So for your all information, she's a author, a poet, and she shared a book. So who's next?
I'll go. I wouldn't say there was a specific moment when I had this realization. As a young lawyer, I think your identity and your sense of self tends to get very strongly linked to being a lawyer, because being a lawyer takes up a lot of your life, to be very honest. But at some point, moving countries multiple times and just adapting to different situations, and then I would say motherhood as well, having children, all of these just gave me a lot more life experience. And it started opening some doors in my head that I have other areas that I'm curious about, other things which I'd like to do, or more creative spaces in my mind, other than being a lawyer as well. And I thought, why not give it a shot? So that's how I started doing other things on the side too.
Nimisha.
I think I'm a lot in line with Harini. Essentially, almost, I would like to say 70% of my brain is creative. Even though I do think law is my first passion, it is my bread and butter. I think ever since I started being a lawyer, which was way back in 2015 after school, it was actually in law school that I really realized all my creative pursuits in London at LSE, whether it was theater, whether it was, organizing fine dining dinners, whether it was for the mood courts, all of that. So essentially, I think because 70% of my brain is predominantly creative, I realized that I definitely want to have two parallel careers. And that's essentially, and when I did go into law, I started with law on the basis of going into human rights, but realized that could possibly never sustain my lifestyle. So I definitely wanted a balance of both, which is essentially why I took up corporate law and worked predominantly in M&A, but now I've come to a niche area which I absolutely love, which is impact investment, which balances both for me very well. And then when it comes to my other two companies that I've launched, it comes through a lot of years of sort of going through different cycles of creativity, and essentially realized that one of my biggest energy boosters is people. I love networking. So decided, and I love dining. So combined both of them and turned them into a supper club that travels. And we surprisingly did well. So that's kind of how the Alibi table was born. And when it comes to House of Audacious Foundation, that's something I started way back when I even started law. My goal was to always work with kids in juvenile prisons. And when I say rescue them, I'm very intentional about the word that I use in terms of rescue. I do feel like we do rescue them. I wanted it to be a self-sustaining sort of model rather than me just reaching out to a bunch of my really good friends who are pro bono lawyers and getting them to, fight their cases. I really wanted to make it a self-sustaining business, which is essentially why the candle business was born, and that now self-sustains all the work that we do with the kids and with supporting women as well. But essentially, the whole purpose of that was the cause. I get to why candles and why not gifts further down the line. But it's a very, very special story of why we decided to do luxury candles to support these girls. But yeah.
Wow. So my next one, how has a passion outside work made you better at what you do professionally, not just happier? Who's
Let me
coming?
start this time.
Yeah.
It's opened my mind. It's made me open to different lines of thinking. Very, very practically as a lawyer, it's put me in the shoes of my client much more than I could have ever tried to be myself. So when I started running a business is when I understood as a lawyer the kind of pain points that clients have when they come to us. So however much empathy you have, until you've actually been in those shoes, it doesn't work out quite the same. So that was a very big change that I saw. And other than that, I think it's also given me a lot of and because I started meditating, doing mindfulness and so on, it's also helped me become more self-aware, rejig my own mind in certain ways, learn to listen better to my clients, to colleagues, to others. Not that I didn't earlier, but effective listening, so to speak, and just overall provide better advice. So I think it's really helped me a lot as a lawyer.
So actually, in
Very good.
line with what Harini said, I would also say that I became more customer centric or client centric. I mean, I've been working in sales. I'm in sales. It's all about, a lot of times it's all become the numbers. But when I started doing this passion project, and now it's my full-time business also along with my job, so I became more customer centric. I started thinking from customers' point of view, that what would actually make my customers feel better. Like, let's say if I sell a product, let's say I'm into the handcrafted, let's say saris I'm selling. So it actually reflected both of it. In my corporate job also, I'm thinking the same way, like how the brand is positioned, how the customers are perceiving the brand, whether my own or the company that I'm working at. So it has actually become 100% client centric for me, and it has actually changed my mindset completely from just number talking, like, because sales are all about numbers. We talk about achieving them, we talk about hitting the quotas and all the time, and that too in cybersecurity. But working on this my passion and my passion project and Karigari, it has actually shifted that whole mindset for me, and it is actually helping both my jobs. So yeah, I'm aligned with what Harini said, definitely.
Wow. So who's next?
So
Yeah,
do you,
yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. It's okay.
So yeah, I just see a synergy, Amir, when you have chosen all of us to speak at this forum. Even though we are part of different careers or industries, the most common thing is, we like working with people. We are great at networking. We're socially connected, and I think as women, we have this inherent quality where even the sixth sense gets activated. So other than we have that quality of nurturing, and it comes very automatically. It's not necessary that we have to be wives, mothers, or whatever. I mean, that adds on to it, which is great. But I would say that we don't have to be told. The whole proactive initiative that comes from us of constantly learning, detecting or understanding those subtle things in people, empathy, and it's all about, like people said, about consumers or clients. You learn how to communicate by listening, and also you are more understanding and loving the process of the journey rather than worrying about the outcome. So you're doing your job, and you know that it will land somewhere. So I think that kind of perspective or a passion gives a lot of depth, and it broadens horizons, where you're not looking at things in a narrow way. There are different facets you also bring as an individual and as a woman into your profession and personal lives, to see how can you keep going, because you do not want to let your emotions bog you down, and you will always look for things that relieve you out of situations that are not that great. And also, when you really want to try something new, you keep on working to it till actually you get there. So that's the way that makes passion outside work better.
Wow.
Just to clarify that question further, did you mean how passion supports my current work? Is that what you meant by the question?
No, how's passion outside work made you better at what you do professionally?
Right. So essentially, I agree with everything the other panelists have also spoken about. I think a lot of the times when you do put yourself in the shoes of your clients, you do become way better in your work, and especially in the legal work. For me, my extra passions help me keep my sanity at work more than anything else, because law can get dry and boring sometimes. It can be terribly long hours. It can be terribly long days. And for me, just the thought process that, oh my gosh, I get to release my creative brain after, say, a certain project, or I know that I'm parallelly working on my other work as well. That gives me, more than anything, it gives me a great balance. So because I have that, I know I can do law as well very well, because I have that outlet of creativity. I have that outlet of, especially when it comes to passions, I'm someone who who runs on adventure. So for me, like going out skiing or diving or any of this is a huge part of my lifestyle. So or sports. So, and I think that all adds a great sense of balance for me in terms of doing the long hours in law.
Wow. So for all the viewers out there, lawyers have creative uh, work-life balance. Watch the episode. We'll come to know someone into scuba diving, as Nimisha was shared. Some go for long rides. They are interested into cricket, Formula One, music, so many things. So nowadays, managing a work life has become more creative, and there are, what do you say, networking events like pickleball tournaments, cricket tournaments. So many things are happening in the legal industry, which is really inspiring. So my next question, high performance careers demand intensity. What boundaries have you consciously built to protect your energy without compromising your passion? And I'm adding one more layer, and balancing your time and resources. So who's coming?
Okay, I was waiting for Harini to speak. Okay.
Okay, so let me go first then, if
Yes,
you'd
yeah,
prefer.
yeah.
I don't have a simple answer for this. And what I would say is this: first steps, what's helped me is to understand what I want out of life and how I want to set boundaries. I know that some people believe that how to achieve work-life balance is by maintaining X amount of, number of hours at work on a given day, weekdays only, or I will never work on Sundays, or it varies from person to person. For me, what helps me the most is understanding that what I value the most is flexibility. So when I am able to manage my time better, and of course that you also reach that stage in your career a little bit later, especially as a lawyer. But when I'm able to manage my timings as I need to on a given, on any given day, and where I can say for a certain amount of time, if I'm not available for any XYZ reason, I'm not available. So being able to do that, I think, is what has helped me the most. And that's where I set my boundaries, that I need that flexibility. I'm okay sometimes to work over a weekend when I know that, something is very important for a client, even on a Sunday. But sometimes on a Wednesday afternoon, I may need an hour because I'm at school with my kids or, something else. So it varies from person to person. I've managed to crack the code for myself that what I need is flexibility and being able to arrange my hours of work. Then it works for me.
Wow, beautiful.
I think I
For
might
me,
come.
actually, yeah, Nimisha, please go ahead.
No, mine's very similar to Harini, which is why I thought I'll quickly come in.
Yeah,
I think flexibility is a big part of it, especially if you are managing a couple of businesses, like along with a full-time day job. But I also think, like, in terms of when you spoke about healthy boundaries, I don't personally, I don't think there is such a thing as boundaries when it comes to managing oscillating between two, because there are times when I'm working as a full-time lawyer and I do have to take a call from my foundation, or I do need to take a call from my company in terms of what needs to go next. So I think for me, it's all about oscillating in a single day. Like, I don't think I can say today entirely is for law and tomorrow entirely is for my entrepreneurial work. I think every day it's like a ball game that I have to play every other hour between the different workspaces that I have. So I think for me, that's very important. And second, I think for me, especially, I know a lot of people say that you shouldn't like burn and crash. But honestly, one of the biggest questions I ask is, what is your apprehension from burning and crashing? Like, the concept of burning and crashing. It's like you are essentially I'm okay to burn and crash multiple times as long as I'm okay to pick myself up. So, and I think the whole concept of burning and crashing is a external sort of approval of, oh, what will people think, or what will people say if I do so many multiple things? And I think that and I say this only mainly because when I started off as a lawyer, a lot of people said, pick a niche and stick by it, or pick law and stick by it. Don't do all these multiple other things. Otherwise, you will never grow in your career. In 10 years' time, you will be all over the place. And I think one of the best decisions I made very early on, even when I started as an associate, was to make that clear distinction that I want to do everything, and it'll be how I want to structure my life. So I think that clarity helps a lot in terms of what you want, how you see your future, and how you see those boundaries as well set. As long as you're okay to pick yourself up each time, I think that there is no real requirement for those boundaries to be laid.
beautiful.
So actually, for me, I've learned this the hard way, but the discipline works really well for me especially because I work in two very different kind of universe, like cybersecurity, sales as a profession, and my own handcrafted the brand that I have. So these are very two different universes for me. Keeping myself sane. It's all about a discipline. I'm very intentional about my time. I have to I have to block time for thinking. Because there's a creative thing and the professional thing. There's an IT completely, and then there is this one sector for where I'm interacting with the local artisans and the interacting with customers, etc. So I need to be very disciplined and do a lot of prioritization as well a lot of times, but I have learned to say no for a lot of things. I did not know it earlier, but I have learned this in the previous year itself. That was a major learning for me of previous year, that it's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to not glorify like I'm working a lot, or I'm exhausted. It's not always right, because it eventually starts affecting you. And that's actually a good thing for me. And that's how I keep a healthy boundary. I definitely love both of my workspaces. I absolutely love it, no matter how different, opposite these two are, but I absolutely love it. That keeps me insane. And there are sometimes I'm able to make the boundary, sometimes I'm not. But yeah, prioritization, little bit of discipline, and being intentional about my time. It actually works for me really well. As of now, it's working for sure.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with everyone because it's all about like even you plan your day, it doesn't happen the way it is. There are a lot of things that come ad hoc, and you have to prioritize and manage at that point of time. But I'm always with an open mind to see what comes my way and then see how to manage, because if I overthink or overplan, it doesn't work that way. So like discipline or prioritization, and sometimes taking that time off for yourself, what is really needed at that point of time, because constantly having mundane or boring things going on, the same thing, repetitive things going on, it actually kills creativity. So for me, I like doing different things in between, or I look forward for that weekend that maybe I want to do something different that will help me get back to starting my Mondays. So that's something that really keeps me going.
So my next question will be: society often rewards linear careers. How did you handle skepticism when your journey didn't follow a straight line?
My mantra is simple here: love what you do. That's the only mantra I live every day. I love both of my workspaces, as I said. So the external noises, it actually doesn't affect me. And then I don't care much about what people are saying, because I love so much of whatever I do every day. I love that. So yeah, it keeps me sane and cut off all the noise. That's what works for
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, go on.
Go on. Go on.
Uh, okay, so I think in my case, I had a few people who came who were not lawyers, incidentally. This was a very interesting thing. A few people who were not lawyers asked me, you know, being a lawyer is a very, like prestigious job. Why would you, try to start setting up a startup right now or doing something very different? And why in a space like this, which is like, it's a very nebulous kind of space. There are a lot of gurus out there, and then you're starting a new app and so on. The interesting thing was lots of lawyers actually said, wow, that's so cool. You're following something that you're interested in, you're following your passion. So I think, like Palak said, at some level, it's also understanding that whichever form you get that feedback in, at some level, it's also noise. So if you believe in what you're doing, or if you're really interested and you're learning a lot in the journey, I think for me, learning is something that, that's really my passion. So learning a lot of different things along the way and, doing things you like, then it doesn't matter. All the rest of it is noise, really.
Yeah.
I agree with everyone. I'm in terms of a linear journey, I don't think I've ever had a linear journey. I think I've mentioned this in the past as well. And I think I've been criticized for it far too many times. Every single time I introduce myself and I say I have two other, like a company and a foundation, I get like eyeballs all the time saying, how are you managing both? Are you even a good lawyer if you're doing like, if you're being an entrepreneur and have a foundation, do you think you can do law well? And I think the answer to that question is, I think more than anything, it's what makes you happy, right? Like if the balance makes you happy, if the balance is not making you go crazy, which it will on some days it will make you go crazy. But I think it's a good kind of crazy. It's not a crazy where you want to kind of quit. So I think definitely for me, if you're someone who wants to pursue multiple things at the same time, I think as everyone said, cut out the noise. Number two, just understand and ask yourself, it's both the professions or both the fields making you happy in the way it gives you gratification at the end of the day, saying you are accomplishing what you want to see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years, or even at that moment. I think that would possibly give you the peace and happiness to be able to continue that journey, because I think linear is quite honestly very, very boring. I honestly don't know how people do one job for the rest of their lives.
But Candice.
Yeah, no, totally in agreement, because I just tell people I'm human and not robot. and stagnancy kills. So if you don't try your hands, you would not know. It works for you, it doesn't. So I don't feel failures or trials. Like, it just helps me to know where I stand, how do I better myself, what can I do. And I think these passions that we pursue or we want to do is something that keeps us alive. It's not just about, okay, it's something else that we are doing apart from work, but we like doing those multiple things. It keeps us going. We have so much connect beyond workplace, beyond home, with people from different segments. And it's good to understand their journey, know them. You learn, you get inspired. And I think that's what you need. Like, your life has to be meaningful and purposeful. So I think, yeah, then it has to make sense.
Wow. So adding another layer to this conversation, when juggling multiple identities, imposter syndrome often creeps in. What mindset shifts help you silence that inner critic and outsiders?
So it happens to me a lot again, because especially because completely opposite workspaces I have. So a lot of times I get stuck because one time I'm talking cybersecurity and all technical, and the other side I'm talking about how a particular stitch is being made on probably any clothing item. So it's completely different. So it happens to me a lot that I get stuck. Okay, how am I supposed to talk? And earlier I used to be very harsh on myself, because, as I think Candice, you said very correctly, that we plan things one way, but it doesn't turn out always the way we actually want it to be. So, and I used to be very harsh on myself, and I used to do a lot of self-sabotage that I was unable to do it. But now I don't do it. I just deal it very differently with gratitude. I like to compare myself itself, like how I was in 2025, I was in probably 2023, 2020, when I started my career 10 years, 12 years back. So I see that, I remind myself that I've come so far. So it's a good thing, and I've worked really hard for whatever I have right now. So my focus stays on getting better every single day. Whatever I'm doing, if I can do it better every day, and keep evolving myself, keep evolving and giving a better experience for my customers in both my work fields. And I think this works well for me, and keep me sane, and try to give my best every single day. That's what works best for me.
If I were to say, how do I handle something like imposter syndrome, right? Um, Two elements to it. I think as far as ZEN-it is concerned, or things like my mindfulness or meditation practice, it's very simple. In a sense, I don't have imposter syndrome because I'm nowhere near, let's say, some of the most accomplished gurus. So when I understand that I'm quite a baby in that field, and especially looking at how the world has been over so many hundreds of years, right? I'm nobody in front of many greats. So there, at least, I think I don't need to even worry about imposter syndrome. Uh, as a lawyer, I think somewhere this is something that you do grapple with as a lawyer. But now I have been a lawyer for many years, and I also have noticed it's a little bit like Palak said as well, but I try to step outside of myself and observe myself, say how I interact in meetings or what kind of solutions I'm giving my client. I'm trying to judge myself. And over time, I've come to the conclusion that I am a very good lawyer. And so that's how I fight my imposter syndrome. I first critically observe what it is that I have done. And then I say, but this is really good work. So if I do the work to my own satisfaction is when I find that I have less of imposter syndrome. But if at all it is not as good as, my own standards for myself, that's when I feel a little bit disappointed with myself. But I think that's quite normal.
Wow.
I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, especially when it comes to like as I said, juggling between the two is whenever I have felt it, when people are like, how can you be good at both of them? But I think earlier, as I said, when it comes to my other two companies, there has been no precedent in terms of the format that we're doing what we're doing. So there I probably not felt any sort of imposter syndrome. When it comes to law, because I've had massive shifts in law, I think I allow my clients to be my testimony for that. Because like I've worked in-house as an M&A lawyer with Amarchand Mangaldas and a few other law firms. Then I've moved in, I mean, as a corporate lawyer, and then I've moved in-house completely, worked with the World Trade, then with Reliance. So I think my employers, and probably now I'm a consultant across borders between Dubai and India. And I think I allow my clients to be my best sort of judge when it comes to that. And the fact that I do have clients, I think between the both, and they sustain my bread and butter well enough, I feel like I don't face that as much. I don't feel like I face that as much.
Yeah, I think we have enough of people who are criticizing, right? That you cannot do this or you're not able to. So there's a lot of noise that's there outside. And then if you have the inner critic, I think that's like you're not being able to survive. So I obviously look for strong inner circle for feedback who give genuine feedback, And I would really see how I've grown since the last many years, personally and professionally, what more I can do and how do I better myself. And that's more from a development point of view, not just I have to deliver something or, it's very task oriented. It's more from a vision point of view where I learn to measure myself against my own growth curve rather than comparison. So for me, confidence is grounded and it's not loud. So I would rather see if I do something, it has to make sense, it has to be relevant, it has to add value. Otherwise, there's no point doing it. So
how does showing up as a whole person, work, hope, and passion change the way you lead teams and communities?
So I think it makes you a better leader eventually because we are there, and being in the team you get to work with all sorts of people. Some are junior to you, some are senior to you, and while we are working with you, we are going as a whole person. So people can also see the different dimensions of who am I. So they are able to relate more. I'm also able to relate more with them. So it eventually build trust, and it also gives opportunity for people to, like, you can inspire people, and you also get inspired by other people, like currently in this setup, that I'm able to get to know these amazing other ladies, that what all things you're doing. And this is completely opposite to my domain, like the law and the fragrances. So I mean, coming out not only in our respective jobs or our businesses, I think in general in society also, like I'm able to get to know a lot from you ladies also. So it eventually helps everyone if we go as whole and accept our vulnerabilities, our interests, and we can see that we are so passionate about what we are doing, even though we know very little about probably each other's interests and jobs and their companies. We are meeting for the first time, but still that energy we can feel, that passion, that vibes, that Gen Z use that word, the vibe. We're able to catch it a lot, even though we're meeting for the first time. So I think this is how I think it makes us all a better person, and eventually inspire others also.
Beautiful. Who's
Yeah.
coming next?
So in terms of, I think leadership, I think I keep getting asked this question. You have 24 hours in a day, right? Like, and I think it's, I think that that question helps me a lot, honestly, more than it helps me answer that question. It helps me understand that I'm able to juggle through so many different aspects of work. And I do think that, I think when you do deal with so many different aspects of, like, when I deal with law and then networking and then a whole different design angle when it comes to House of Audacious and fine dining and curation. I think for me, I'm able to walk into any room and feel comfortable talking to anybody from any profession. And I think that's what such fluidity in entrepreneurship or in business does for you. It gives you a certain sense of leadership skill where you can walk into any room and have a conversation with anybody and still speak into that field with a certain level of confidence, or more than confidence, experience of what it actually means to run a business, what it actually means to be on the other side as a lawyer as well. So I feel like it definitely makes you whole in that aspect. And it gives you so many different angles of looking at leadership, not just from a perspective of a downward angle, but even an upward angle, because you're building from a ground up from an entrepreneurship. So what does that look for, like, especially because I'm in the impact investment space, what does that look for an entrepreneur who's coming to me for investments when I myself have, raised rounds of investments? So I think that really helps. I definitely think it's a bonus and not it has never really been a negative sort of factor when it comes to leadership, at least.
I truly agree with that, because I see most of the leaders today are rarely visionary. So, when you have people in your teams, you rarely get to know them as people, because we all have this side of showing the strong side when we are at work and not show our vulnerabilities. And we don't even discuss them. So I think it's very important that knowing people at your workplace helps, because the first thing when I have colleagues or people joining the teams, I like to know them as a person, because it helps me to break the ice and understand how to work with them. Secondly, if I know that these are their interests, they like doing it, how can I use them in a better way, their potential at workplace, and where do they need improvement, where do they need support? And I think that's what leadership is, actually getting the best out of the people. And whether they need help or support, you kind of be there and encourage, because that's very rare. Because today everybody is so transactional, and it's too mechanical, where it leaves very little room for people to kind of listen to you, share and understand, and see what you're coping. And actually it helps when you share, when you actually understand the other person's perspective, and then you're working for a common goal. And how, like I said, it's all over the process. If you ease out that process, the outcome falls into place. So I think leadership is all about the process for me.
Wow.
For me, I would say, first off, I agree with all you lovely ladies. Really great insights there. For me, what I think the biggest change that I've seen is that I've always been approachable, but bringing myself as a whole person has meant that people feel more comfortable telling me things as they are, whether it is good or bad. It means that I get better quality feedback when I'm in a position to get feedback, and it also means that I get more honest explanations from people when I need to give feedback or when I need to speak to them about things. It means that they're just comfortable with me as I am, because I bring myself as a very open book. I'm listening. That's it. Tell me. And so whoever the other person is, they feel quite open as well to communicating with me. So that's it really. Other than that, just echoing what everyone else has said.
Wow, beautiful. So AI, legal tech, and digital platforms have changed how we work. How can technology create space for passions rather than consume our lives?
I would.
I believe,
Yeah.
yeah, Candice. No, please go ahead.
No, Nimisha, go ahead.
I think I'm actually happy to take this one. So I think from an AI perspective, AI changed the game for me, especially. I feel more than a lawyer for me, I think in terms of my entrepreneurial work, because to explain a little bit about what I do in terms of my second company, which is the Alibi table. We essentially take a Netflix show or a movie and turn them into live immersive fine dining theater. And then we invite about 40 HNIs to a table and get them to network of them being characters from Netflix shows and movies. So we have to write the script, we have to write their characters, we need to write everything from top to bottom, and it's a lot of work. So if I had to just imagine myself as just a theater artist writing all of this, I think it would. There's no way, I don't think I could balance my legal work with this company that I'm currently working, that I've launched. I think so AI that way definitely changed the game for us. It made things that we would take a week or two to do it in one day. I think AI is your friend as much as possible. If you just learn to train it well, if you learn to use it well, it can let you do miracles within a day. And I think for me, that's AI. I mean, especially like all types of AI tools right now, from ChatGPT to Claude to name it Midjourney to all of it has changed the game, especially in terms of marketing, in terms of media, in terms of planning, all of that. I've even released songs, which I think every singer, songwriters might kill me for. But like, theme tracks for our shows and our fine dining supper clubs. But I think, as I said, I think AI has been a game changer. You just need to learn to use it and upskill. Upskill is the biggest thing today. Every single day, teach yourself an AI tool, teach yourself. There's more than enough tools out there to teach yourself, and it's not even taking like hours and hours out. You take even half an hour or an hour out, you've learned a tool in a matter of no time, and it really helps you in a massive way. So I definitely think AI is here to help rather than this dark cloud that people are looming over their heads, thinking everything's going to sort of, people are going to lose their jobs and all. I think there's definitely going to be upskill required. But I think it's definitely here to stay in a good way, not in a bad way. And I think for me, it's created perfect balance between law and creative ventures, and it's helped us scale in a way I never thought possible.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think because I feel technology is all about removing those barriers and, not the essence or the meaning. It accelerated a lot of things for me, like, like cutting down time and those operational tasks, optimizing things, and, it freed a lot of creative bandwidth. So I think faster ways to cut down some research and collate findings, these things really help a lot. And sometimes it's like, it's like this feedback or a sounding board, where you write something and then you get an understanding. Oh wow, that's great. And then you keep diving further into it till you get to know something, and then you do your own research. So I think setting that whole scope or background, giving a flow to your presentations, all this is great. The only thing I would say is, because we are in such professions, I don't want to, like, say, I want to be so much dependent on AI. I would use it as a tool or aid, but I would be very conscious, because it's how we use it and not the technology per se. So even designing digital boundaries is critical, because, like, Nimisha said, that will not replace it, but eventually we should not become too dependent and lose. So I would use it at anything new in terms of technology, very great to help, but also it should not replace your, your thinking, and not make you kind of lazy. Because now with quick com and all, we are too lazy. We're sitting at home and ordering and not really going out there. So I always feel that, stepping out of comfort zone is where it starts, where technology tries to show we are there. And it should not tie your hands and legs. So basically, how to use it in a conscious and a better way for the good, I think we need to see how helpful that is.
Yeah, this is so true. I think I would consider, in line with what Nimisha said, I don't have a partner, co-founder. So ChatGPT is like a co-founder for me. So I plan my campaigns, I get the ideas from him. I'm not a writer myself. I was not a writer myself, but now that I have AI, I can actually do lots of things on my own, and I don't need new people. But I also agree with what Candace said, that let's not become too lazy, that we become let's not that creativity should come from me, not entirely from the tool, because then I become obsolete. So again, it is in line with what Nimisha said. We need to keep on upskilling ourselves, otherwise we might become obsolete in some. So it's a combination of all of that. And actually, technology is neutral. It depends how we use it. So, for example, for any e-commerce business, like what I'm doing, so I can manage my inventory and I can manage my orders and communication, everything with the help of technology tools that I'm using. And same applies to my corporate job also. Like, because cybersecurity is all about technology. We're doing so many things. Like, we are saving businesses from cyber attacks. So it's all because of technology, but we have to make it shouldn't be a mindless consumption. So we need to be very intentional about its use, and we try to learn it, and we try to see how best we can utilize technology to improve ourselves, to improve efficiency, to build our businesses and contribute more. But also, let's also keep thinking how we are not 100% dependable and also not 100% replaceable by AI. because then we would all be in great trouble. That's what I feel.
Um, in part, I agree with what all the rest of you have said. My perspective is also a little bit different because I am a tech lawyer and I also advise on AI and data protection and aspects like that. But that said, I think what I'd like to share is that I find it's also fun to just play with AI as, a way to learn something new or to do something very different. Um, to even say the things that you want to say in a different way. Like I had this side project which I unfortunately never got down to releasing. I vibe coded a very simple 80s style arcade game on it's got like a space theme and all that, a little bit like Pac-Man, but like a space theme to give you a sense for what it actually is. And with questions on India's new data protection law. So that was a really fun project. I really enjoyed doing it. It's a little bit unfortunate I never actually had it hosted anywhere, but uh, so I have very little coding experience. I started learning Python some years ago, learned a little bit, and then just stopped for whatever reason. But using AI tools, I was able to do this much. So I'm generally open to playing around with things, and I also find that it can help you learn something very different. Or yes, it can help you in your regular course of work, but it can also help you learn something very new, something very different. Um, and that can also have a passion element to it, or align with certain other passions that you have.
I would encourage Harini, please go and do something on that. I'll share with you on a personal wall. I came up with this, I bought this comic also, where they're describing in comical conversations on privacy.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very beautiful learning. Okay? Because privacy is so, what do you say, understanding for a layman, but the, in a comical format, the author has done a wonderful job. So, my next question, beyond titles and accolades, what kind of legacy do you want your work and passion to leave behind?
I think I'd like to go. I hope to bring peace and joy to people in some way, shape, or form. I think on the ZEN-it side of things, it's easy enough to understand how that might happen. But from the legal side of things, I would like to hope that, at least my joy might be an overstatement, but at least hopefully my clients will get some peace of mind in knowing that they're well protected. Uh, Ultimately, I think I can distill it to these two words, peace and joy.
Wow. So, who's next?
It's interesting because House of Audacious's tagline is where luxury meets legacy. But essentially, I mean, I think the word legacy is big, but I think the word legacy that I would definitely like to leave, especially with the foundation, is being able to rescue as many girls from human trafficking, juvenile prisons, domestic abuse. So I think I definitely, hopefully in the future, maybe 10 years from now, when I want to be able to enter policy and be able to redraft a lot of the laws when it comes to child protection rights in India, and what helps them, what is even considered human today. Especially when it comes to kids who are begging on the road, like that shouldn't even be a thing today, and it is, unfortunately. So I think that's definitely the area that I want to see myself in, maybe 10 years down the line, doing a lot more than just policy, but actually being able to, like right now, we've rescued we worked with about 100 to about 200 girls between juvenile prisons to domestic abuse rescue. But ideally, the numbers, I wanted it to be far more. And it's not just a number game. It's because we take one, our goal for us is taking one girl and rehabilitating that girl enough that she never, ever has to enter the cycle of abuse or even a lack of funding ever again. So, which is why we concentrated one girl at a time. But hopefully in the future we'll be able to scale a lot more. So that's definitely where I want to see myself in. I think another legacy that I would definitely love to see is create a lot of like exceptionally cool experiences when it comes to skiing and diving, and like create some brilliant groups that have had a lot of fun. I know these are two very opposing sort of passions, but yeah, I think skiing and diving is something. We just did a massive ski party called the Secret Ski Party in the Himalayas about one week ago. We did 2 editions of that. So I'm really hoping that we can turn skiing into a huge thing in India. And at the same time, even diving, I feel like I would love to like have a travel company that specializes in two of these very cool fields of like adventure. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about inspiring, whether it's through your profession or your personal life. And being into fragrance and flavors, it's all about memory, emotions, and, understanding people. So, it's something to be felt and not to be kind of told. So if I can inspire, people through my way of work, and anything which is meaningful of integrating science with soul, I think that would be something really meaningful and really satisfying.
So mine is also aligned a little bit with what Candice said. That of course we are. If I'm a workaholic and I love my work, of course I want to be known for my credibility, integrity. But as a whole, I really want the young girls or women in general to see. I don't think I'm not saying that I've done a lot of things, but I really want that. Like if I can inspire at least one person, also at least one woman or girl to dream bigger. That it's okay if you want to do multiple things, you can do it. Because I mean, at least the four of us are doing it, so of course you can do it. So please don't leave up, give up on your ambition. And because it's actually possible, so many people are doing it. So if I can do something in the times to come to prove that, to inspire girls or women in general, so I think that would be one legacy that I would love for people to remember about me. Yeah, that would be the most important thing for me for now, I think.
So my last question for this wonderful conversation which we have, for women professionals afraid that pursuing passion might dilute focus, what message would you like to give to them?
I think I'll go first on this one. Pursuing your passion might make you better at everything that you do, um, rather than diluting focus in any one space. So don't be afraid to pursue your passion. It might make you better in every sphere of life.
Wow, yeah.
I'm
Who's
happy to
next?
I'm happy to go next. I think for me, I think very realistically, I would ask everyone to ask themselves 3 questions. Number one, where do I want to see myself financially in the next 5 years or even right now? Where do I want to see myself in terms of a happiness quotient? Because happiness is so vast, right? So in terms of my personal life, in terms of my work life, what does happiness look like to me? And number three, where do I see myself? I mean, I think a lot of the times we miss this, but where do I see myself with my partner or with my children or with my family? Because family plays such an important role in who we are today, what kind of support system we have today, all of that. So I think if you're able to ask yourself these 3 questions, I think the answers just will automatically come. And if you can then start putting up your goals based on these 3 questions, I think then the pursuit of happiness or even um, I think peace and happiness and goals will come in automatically if you're able to answer these 3 questions looking at your next 5 or 10 years.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
no, Candice, go ahead.
Yeah, so I would just say one thing that everyone just said, because don't sacrifice your curiosity to very short term optics, and design ambition in such a way that you're not shrinking to fit a title, or being in a comfort zone, or in a box or a cubicle, but always expand to see how further you can accelerate and go beyond your potential, because I believe in having one life, and do what you can. It's okay to fail, to make mistakes. That's how you learn. And then you have this great smaller inner circle of, like we said, we have our families, our friends, all these people who are around us to keep us going. So it's important to have the human side and what you want to do, because it takes courage to really, get in there and make that decision that you want to do something for yourself. It's not about being selfish or self-centered, but it's also thinking about yourself, to do what you feel like doing, which could bring you grace and happiness, but it also helps the people around you. So I think that's really important, that pursue passions that make you feel go beyond that extra mile and beyond your comfort zone.
Wow.
Definitely. I think everyone has already covered most of it. So I'm also aligned with what you ladies said. Definitely, it does not dilute at all passions. It actually stabilizes you more. You can actually do so many things. And especially once you're following your passion, it will never feel you like a pressure. I don't think it feels like a pressure to any of us. No. So any of the career based on, it will always feel you heavy if it's just about achievements. It will always feel powerful, and it's also about meaning, and meaning comes from passion. Okay, so definitely don't be afraid of following your passion. It gives a different meaning to your life. That's what I would like to say to everyone.
Wow.
Sorry, I'd
So let
like
me
to
sum up.
come in
Sorry.
one last. I forgot to
Yeah.
mention. I think if everyone can please pick up a sport, it doesn't have to be a sport or anything, but I think that will really give you, like, when your brain, your body, nothing is working, this will really help you. Like, it'll give you the will to go on, especially if you like a sport or you like even the gym or whatever it is. In terms of a passion, if you can pick that up, I think that really helps in terms of discipline as well. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in. Sorry, I didn't mean to come in later.
So let me sum up. The Lord has given us life, a purposeful life, but passion is that dimension. What today's conversation makes clear is this: flourishing is not accidental, it's intentional. When careers are aligned with curiosity, creativity, and compassion, success stops feeling heavy and starts feeling sustainable. To everyone listening, your passion is not a distraction from your career. It might just be the reason your career lasts, evolves, and truly matters. Until the next conversation, keep designing a life that feels as powerful on the inside as it looks on the outside. So, thank you all, our panelists, Harini, Nimisha, Candice, Palak, celebrating this International Women's Day at the Coffee Conversation Show. Uh, all the insights you all shared, it will inspire all the women out there, not only India, globally, to have a passion full of life. So that will drive them and make it purposeful. So thank you. Signing off. Your host for the day, Lion Amir Virani over here.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Amit.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
everyone,
us.
for the
Thanks,
lovely chat.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.